Several weeks ago, I built a carousel for my R8 collets and various mill products, and have enjoyed it so much and liked it so much, I decided I would build a carousel for my lathe tools as well. Of course, this is all mini mill, mini lathe. What the plan is to take this disc, and I'll be drilling 12 small holes around the perimeter, and drill and tap them 632. On the inner ring, I'll put 6 holes of various sizes. What they'll be for, the outside, the outside first, the 12, what I'll do is create some little small dovetail pieces, like such. Mount those on the around the perimeter. I'll show you how I mount them as time goes by. In fact, what I use to mount them, throughout this video there'll be small hints. It's actually in the video most of the time of what I'll use, but with that small dovetail, here we go. The various lathe tools will hang around the perimeter, and I have 9 of those. I'm going ahead and putting 12 around here. The 6 holes on the inner ring will be various sizes. The smallest will be 7 thousandths, which a MT2 dead center will set in and not quite fall through. It'll leave about an inch of it sticking up. I have 2 of them that size. I have 2 for just a little larger, about 0.75, 750 thousandths, which an MT2 will go all the way through, and that will be for my drill chucks and live center. And then I'll have 1 large hole, which will be about 900 thousandths, for the MT3 that goes in the headstock on the lathe, excuse me. So, but the first thing we got to do, this is a stamp, so the edges of it is rough. As a matter of fact, there's some places on there where I guess the cutter guides for the cutter. But anyhow, that's a small edge. What we're going to do is find the center of this, drill and tap it in the middle for a 5/16 24. That's just because that's what I happen to have, a little jig. I'll mount that on there, mount this in the lathe, and then turn the outside of it just to get it uniform throughout all the way around. So let's take our square, and again I've got to watch where I put this because of some rough edges around, or rough marks around the side. And just to check, I will do a 3rd one. And they all look good. We'll go over to the drill press and drill, and then on the hand tapper, tap that, and then mount it on the lathe. have a 5/16 16 tap. We'll line this up. This hole will eventually be drilled out to a 3/8, which is what the center bolt will be riding on needle bearings. But we have it threaded now to go into the lathe. So I'll get it mounted in the lathe and be right back. Interrupt the cut around the outside edge until we get it started. Okay, we've got a good finish on the outside edge. I have it mounted, the table mounted on the mill table with a couple of pieces of extruded aluminum. The reason I'm using that, I'm going to have to move the clamps as I work, and I would like to keep at least 2 on at all times, and I only have 2 1, 2, 3 blocks. So these will be close enough for what I'm doing here. Alright, we'll use the center finder and get this set back up in the center, or get it in the center. Okay. We're going to drill this, as I said earlier, this center hole will be a 23/64, will be a 3/8. We're going to drill it to begin with a 23/64 and then ream it out to a 3/8. We want as small amount of wobble in it as possible when we put the thrust bearings on each side. And then just to be sure, okay, I drilled and reamed the center hole. Then as I started to set up to drill the outside parameter holes, I realized I had the disc too far back on the table. So I reset now and I'm able to reach everything. I will not be able to drill number 1 and number 7 to start with. I'll drill around them, then leaving at least 2 clamps on at the time. I'll put a clamp in the back, move this one, put a clamp over on the front, move that one, and continue with the drilling process. So our first hole is X at 2325. Well, like I said, I got to go to the second hole, 2014. And Y at 162. As I said earlier, I'm drilling these. They'll be tapped for number 6, a 632 screw. And I'm just going to continue with the process around the parameter. Okay, the next set of holes is going to be the uh, inner perimeter or inner circle. These will be larger holes to hold the live center, the dead center, the keyless chuck, and the keyed chuck, and also a 3MT dead center for the headstock. I'm going to drill all of these to begin with this 5/8 drill. Then I'll come back with the boring head and drill the holes to various sizes. There'll be 3 different sizes that we use here. Alright, I've numbered my holes now with my Sharpie. Holes 1 and 3 I want to be the smallest diameter, which is approximately 0.7. Then holes, that will be to hold the dead centers. Holes 2, 3, and 6 will be to hold the where the MT2 will pass all the way through to hold the chucks and the live center. And then 5 I'm going to go back for a large hole for the MT3. Alright, we're down to our last hole. We're just going to make the spring cut. This is our large hole for the MT3. It fits the headstock. Alright, I'm going to take it out now and go over to the hand tapper and tap these outside holes. Alright, before I tap it, I believe I need to do a little deburring first. Okay, I've got the 632 tap in. I hope the camera will set there. It's kind of in a precarious situation right now, but we'll see how this goes.